So today we'll be getting into some stories involving Jey's absence, Roman Reigns' interview, John Cena on fatherhood, and much more. Let's start things off with Jey's absence because this is a bit interesting. So let's see what's going on there. You have to go back to last fall for the origins of Roman and Jey's current relationship. Roman and Jey respected each other and was obviously friendly with each other because they are close cousins. But Jey wasn't looking at Roman as this undisputed head of the family. He saw Roman and thought that he could challenge and defeat Roman for the title. Of course, Roman Reigns' character took offense to that for several reasons. So Jey had to learn the hard way, and Roman had to put him in line. That entire situation took place at last year's Hell in a Cell, where Roman mopped the floor with both of his cousins before finally making Jey quit in that match. Ever since then, Jey has known his role and acknowledged Roman Reigns as the untouchable leader of their family. Jey brought into Roman's talk about him bringing success to their family and putting them all on top with his title reign. So that was enough for Jey to stand by his side. Of course, like we discussed earlier in the week, Jey played a big role in Roman's title reign in late 2020 and early 2021. If it wasn't for Jey interfering, Roman would have probably lost the Universal title a handful of times. So Jey did end up playing a big role for Roman and basically defending the title for him on a handful of occasions. Everything was running smoothly until the return of Jey's brother, Jimmy. Jimmy returned but made it clear that he wasn't going to be this lapdog for Roman Reigns the same way Jey was. And this created a lot of inner conflict amongst the trio of cousins, with Jey basically being caught in the middle. Roman was telling Jey not to dare leave his side after everything they've done together, while Jimmy was trying to pull Jey back to his side and for them to go win the tag team titles together. It was a lot of stress for Jey's character. You can see how torn he was trying to decide what side to go with. That all led to the backstage conversation between all three of them. After Roman and Jimmy started going back and forth, Jey just erupted and said that he had enough and just left. Roman was able to talk Jimmy down from being frustrated and convinced him to go straighten things out with his brother. Only issue is that Jey hasn't been seen since that night. While Jey has been gone, Jimmy seems to have finally acknowledged Roman Reigns. He came out after the Rey Mysterio match to raise Roman's hand, and Jimmy also came out to try to help with Edge during Edge's return. So maybe it's just a small break for Jey, and he'll be back any week now. He hasn't had a break in a long time, so maybe that's what this was for him, but strictly storyline-wise, his absence lacks some sense. Jey's main reason for walking out was because he was done with Roman and Jimmy arguing and trying to pull him side to side. But literally moments after he left, Roman and Jimmy seemed to have squashed everything. So Roman and Jimmy are on the same page now. Jimmy has been brought in, so why is Jey still gone if the problem is resolved? Roman's story is nearly flawless for the most part, but this may be one of the only logic issues right now. If Roman and Jimmy were still arguing and not being on the same page, then it makes sense for Jey to be like, I'm not going back there. But for Roman and Jimmy to get on the same page, but Jey still being gone, does lack some logic because he can come back now without any worries. Jimmy now stands with Roman, so there's no issue in that way. Maybe he returns soon. Maybe he returns during a big critical moment during the Money in the Bank title match with Edge, or something like that. Because with Roman and Jimmy now working together, Jey's absence is starting to make less sense by the week. But hopefully Jey returns, they're all on the same page, and we can finally see Jimmy and Jey win the tag titles for all three of them to hold gold. Having Roman, Jimmy, and Jey all raising their titles together would be a great opening or ending to an episode of SmackDown in the very near future. Speaking of Roman Reigns, Roman recently spoke with Hot 97's Peter Rosenberg. Rosenberg is a big New York hip-hop radio host and major wrestling fan. He's even seen sometimes during kickoff shows, so he's very close with the WWE, basically works part-time with them. So Rosenberg had Roman as a guest on his show, and it was a great interview that went over a lot of great topics. So let's take a look at that. One of the things Roman was asked about was if he's interested in a Shield reunion. He had this to say, "No, I have respect for everything we did now. A lot of that time was really pivotal for me to learn and gain experience, be around other performers, see their processes and how they attack things and how they think about things. But where I am now, it's a one-man show. I have the family dynamic with my cousins, but at the same time, I call the shots. It's my thumb that's down on this poll. So yeah, I don't think I can share it anymore. So Roman's answer makes a lot of sense. Roman's position in the Shield made sense back then because he was a rookie and just coming into WWE. But now that he has reached this position that he's at right now of being a main solo act and evolving, it doesn't make sense for him to revert to being the Shield's powerhouse again. It'll be like taking a step back and going backwards in terms of the character's evolution. So that makes a lot of sense to turn it down. Roman also finally addressed facing Seth Rollins again and had this to say. Seth is a special performer, especially in ring. It could be a cold situation. You give us a crowd, you give us a ring, and we're going to make something special happen. So you put us in a scenario like WrestleMania or SummerSlam, a big PPV, no question. I mean, that chemistry, that stride for greatness, the ambition for greatness between the both of us, it'll always be there. So that's what's always going to make it special. So that's easy. That's like insurance policy. When in doubt, throw me and him together. So that's Roman's thoughts on that matchup. This matchup is definitely something that WWE has been teasing for months, now with their small hints and teasers. Even just a few weeks ago, where Seth literally requested a title match against Roman Reigns, but was turned down for Edge. So, will Roman and Seth meet again this year? It's highly possible. Here's how things look for the both of them right now. Roman finishes things with Edge and possibly goes on to SummerSlam with John Cena, while Seth Rollins will likely go after Edge for SummerSlam. So the next time that Roman and Seth will both be free to meet again would probably be around September-ish. That's likely the next time we could see them truly get involved with each other again. So keep an eye out for that matchup because it's not being teased for no reason. It's definitely happening sooner than later. John Cena was on a lot of headlines several years ago during the time period where he didn't want to marry Nikki Bella and where he told her that he didn't want to start a family at all. This was all made public on the Total Divas and Total Bellas reality shows. So it was fully put out there to the public, and everyone was of course discussing what Cena and Nikki Bella were going through at the time. Well, Cena is now married to his wife Shay, and during an interview with The Sun, Cena admitted that his mindset on fatherhood and starting a family has changed compared to what it was a few years ago. He had this to say, "I'm a little bit older, a bit wiser. I'm realizing there's life and life exists and it's beautiful. And I think part of that is being a parent. So we'll see." So obviously, if you remember all the topics and news about where Cena stood at when it came to starting a family back in 2017, 2018, then you'll definitely know this is a big change and the complete opposite of what he was saying just a handful of years ago. But it's great news for John Cena and Shay, so there's a much greater chance now that we'll see the start to a family in the future. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.